Okay, so this is the update for the contract. Just to make sure we have everything in place. I'm just going to make sure that we're actually recording first. So we have some stuff in. Me and Dan have talked. We've decided to change a couple things up about the game. Nothing drastic really, but just a couple minor changes with how things are. In terms to mechanics and area layout. So Dan's actually got the levels at the minute and is meshing them out. But after my actual contract said make the dam area bigger so it's more believable, I actually made it a lot bigger. I don't know if I actually have a version of that available, but it was just far too big and it was massive and it was boring. So we've been remeshed it out or reblocked out into this setup. So we have this central area down the bottom here, which isn't actually a whole lot going on. But we're going to sort of populate this as a little area with collectibles and secrets around and stuff like that. But now instead of having one big long dam, we have 3 sections to the dam, and it's always going to introduce the player to begin with. So we can see the goal, we can see the cub, but we just can't get to it. We can't jump high enough to get up there. And I don't think we can actually jump high enough to get back, but I fell off anyway. So the progression is going to take you past the objective first, so you know where you're supposed to go. And it's made in such a way at the minute, which we're going to have to change, because you cannot make it up these jumps, which is the correct thing we want. We've changed the jump height. It's not in this build. It's in a different build that Dan's working on. But we're just going to have to rescale some of these areas so that you can only make the jumps you're supposed to make, and not get up to any areas. So you have to come up to the top of the dam, which you'll notice is actually on a corner, which cuts out a lot of room and makes it feel not as big. And all this empty space, you know, over here and over the other side is going to fill up with like little collectibles and stuff. And if I stop falling off and dying, so this area here and the area up here will have like little gems and stuff to collect to give the player something to do while they are running across to the section. Now the reason we did this is because it forces the player to run past this. So this is obviously going to take some interest. Again, it's not quite correct. It's a bit too big for the camera we're using, but we can clearly see, you know, dam control closed, and then the combination, which translates really easily. They're color coded to this one. And once you've opened that, the water level goes up. We can jump down to the second level, so shortcuts back, and then jump across our logs to get to the other side. Again, we can populate this area with some collectibles and stuff. And they basically have an increasingly harder puzzles, but it's not really difficult, so we don't want the game to be really hard. It's just kind of more of a explorer game once those sections get made. But we can, again, do these two and the water opens, but this time the water doesn't rise. And that's because the third dam is already open, but I just want to see if the text changed over here, because I did make it do that. So this text should say open, I just haven't linked it in. It does actually work, it worked before. But the final puzzle is we can go down this platform. So again, if the player falls in here, they'll have to recross those logs. But we're making the player run past the solution before they get there. Now, we have this weird problem with the particle system down the bottom there, but we actually found out that was the camera. I just haven't updated this version yet, but it's fine, trust me. And then that one will raise up the final water level and enable us to get the cub, which is the goal. So that's kind of the main area. I'm going to have to try and find the burrow here to get back to the spawn. The second area that I'm working on at the minute, so that one's kind of blocked out mechanically. It needs a couple of tweaks here and there and some issues, but it's not really going to change apart from maybe art, collectibles, and kind of bonus stuff. The second area I'm working on is actually currently just a mechanics test. So it's going to be treetops, trees and bridges going in between the trees, treehouse style. And you have these switches which allow you to basically change which way the bridges are pointing. So we have this one which keeps going around, and we have this one which ping pongs backwards and forwards. And this is actually 2 of the same blueprint attached to the same switch, so it looks like, you know, it's one bridge moving together. With the idea being that there will be a cub on top of this block here. This switch will be further away, but you hit it, it comes down, and then it will slowly go back up. the delay at the bottom needs to be a bit longer, because the idea is that you'll have to run back across the bridges, and you'll make it just slow enough that you won't be able to reach the jump. So you have to, you know, move the bridges around to provide yourself with a quicker route. So it's sort of like a little puzzle in terms of navigating the actual path themselves. So something like this. I'm not sure whether we're going to put the switches on the top or on the bottom. It could be both. But again, it leaves us an area with the assets we have. We can bulk it out, make it nice and polished, and add some secrets in here. Now, the interesting thing with these as well, which should make it really handy, is this is actually quite a cool little blueprint, this bridge, because the one bridge has settings for how far it should turn, in this case 90 degrees or 180 degrees, or 360 or whatever. But we can also dictate how far the radius is, so how far should the bridge start, and it will always rotate around this center point. So if you have a larger tree like this one here, you can see that this radius is slightly bigger than the radius we had for this test over here. But also we can add multiple sections onto it, so we can change how long our bridge is by adding sections on there, and make them as long as we want, really. So that's a pretty cool little thing to do. Very flexible for designing our game, because now once I've got the pen and paper down on the plan, it should be relatively easy to plan out a little puzzle for that. But those are our two puzzles. The dam section over here, which is a lot more contained now. It feels a lot nicer, especially once you populate it with some assets. We have the tree section, and for now we are kind of deciding to really nail these two sections for the time being and get these as polished as possible before focusing on anything else. So mechanically, I'm going to be, you know, I'm quite happy with the way this has gone, but I want to add more into it and make sure they're really polished, and mainly tighten everything up. So with the dam controls here, it will actually save out the states of your switches. So I won't play it again because I'll come back from the start. But if you go through and do the dam puzzle, exit the game properly, not with escape, but, you know, through save and quit, when you come back here and reload back into the game, all the switches will be in the same state which you left them, and so will the water. I need to implement that for our bridges so they stay in the same position you left them in, but it shouldn't be too difficult because they're based off the rest of the system as well. So these bridges extend from something called a toggle listener, which everything else pretty much extends from the dam, so it should be pretty easy to do. But generally that's the progress that's been made so far.